Hello and welcome. We see the world around us, the living beings inhabiting it, and for sure some of us can't help but to think about the origins. Today we'll be talking about it. This is a black hole. A black hole is a region of space-time where gravitational force is so strong that not even light can escape it. It has at its center a singularity of space-time. Cosmologists think that long time ago, our universe existed at somewhat a similar singularity. This is called the Initial Singularity. It is said to be a phase some 13.7 billion years ago, when all the matter and energy in the universe was concentrated at one point. And because of the concentration of all the energy, there came a time when this singularity started to inflate and eventually broke up into small pieces with an explosion, and time and space came into being. This explosion is called the Big Bang. However, some cosmologists now believe that there was no singularity to begin with, which means there was no singular Big Bang. The universe was denser and smaller, but never singular. The universe is expanding at an exponential rate and in every direction. The cosmic microwave background, which means the heat left over from the great cosmological event, can be observed all over the universe, which suggests that there might not be a singular Big Bang, but a phase of rapid inflation and expansion which pushed the particles of a dense and hot universe farther from center and making them colder and thus few of them habitable. Earth came into being within our solar system, which in turn is part of our galaxy, which is called the Milky Way. Earth was formed around 4.5 billion years ago. It is believed that, like other planets, Earth also came into being from a solar nebula, means the dust that was left over after the formation of the Sun. These particles conjoined to form Earth and other planets in our solar system. The Earth was very hot in the beginning, and it is believed that a collision with another planet caused the separation of Moon. With the passage of time, the Earth cooled down and a solid crust was formed. The first evidence of life appears to be some 3.5 billion years old. Scientists call this process of formation of life abiogenesis, which means emergence of life from the non-living. The earliest form of life is said to be some microorganisms that have been found in the hydrothermal vents in Quebec, Canada. These microfossils may be more than 4 billion years old. These microorganisms were very basic life forms, which evolved over time to form more complex structures of life. For example, plants, fish, bird, and mammals. This story is called biology. Fast forward about 6 million years ago, ancestors of modern humans started to diverge from chimpanzees. In modern day Ethiopia, the drop in temperature resulted in sparse jungle and fewer trees to jump from one to another. So apes were forced to leave the trees. Ardipithecus remedis, which literally means the ground ape, is the first known hominin to have walked on 2 feet. About 5 million years ago, Ardipithecus roamed the countryside of what is known as Ethiopia. It had smaller canine teeth than its ancestors, but still had a smaller brain. These apes had a very hard time on the ground. On ground, they were prone to danger and were consistently hunted by the predators. 4 million years ago, Ardipithecus evolved into Australopithecus afarensis, which means the southern ape. Australopithecus was more efficient in bipedalism than its ancestor. It had even smaller canine teeth and slightly bigger brain. But their brain size was still 450 cubic centimeters, which is almost one-third of the modern human brain. Australopithecines are said to be the first ones to use stone tools and also thought to have been able to throw rocks to scare away the predators. In 1974 in Ethiopia, 40% of the skeletal fossils of a female Australopithecus were discovered. This female Australopithecus is known as Lucy. Lucy's skeleton shows many human characteristics, but it was still early days into the evolution and suggests that Australopithecines were still more ape than humans. Lucy probably died at the age of 12, but was an adult and had achieved full skeletal growth. The cause of death is still unknown. Some 2.5 million years ago, these archaic apes had evolved into the first creature of our genus, Homo. Homo habilis was born, the handyman. These humans had much larger brain than their ancestors at about 700 cubic centimeters, which helped them make more sophisticated tools and to use them more efficiently. These humans walked extensively and gathered much knowledge of the surroundings. This knowledge was the key to their survival in the African savanna. About 2 million years ago, Homo habilis evolved into Homo rudolfensis and Homo erectus. Homo erectus, being the most significant Homo till that time, which stood at over 5.5 feet tall and had a flat face and a brain size of about 1000 cubic centimeters. Erectus was the first human to move out of Africa and colonize the world. It went as far as to southern Europe, East and Southeast Asia. Homo erectus was the first human to use fire and hunt large game. The bigger brain sizes made much more possible than what earlier was. Homo erectus used language, forged sophisticated tools, and cooked food. Homo erectus lived through a vast area and for a long period, so they evolved into other species. One such was Homo heidelbergensis. Homo heidelbergensis lived in West Europe. They had a brain size which was almost equal to size of the modern humans, had a complex social culture, and even buried their dead. These Homo heidelbergensis evolved into Homo neanderthalensis, or simply the Neanderthals. Neanderthals were much shorter and bulkier and were more suited for the cold European climate. About 350,000 years ago, Humans in East Africa evolved into Homo sapiens, means us. Around 70,000 years ago, cognitive revolution occurred and Homo sapiens moved out of East Africa to spread across the world. This is how the population of different human species was distributed at the time of Homo sapiens migration from Africa. Unfortunately, our siblings, Neanderthals and Erectus, died out, or perhaps were killed off and were replaced by Homo sapiens. However, some genes of these species were carried on by the humans, which mark the distinctive characteristics of humans living around the world. It is quite interesting to think about the possibility of presence of other human species in modern times. The distinctive features of different human populations around the world have caused them to face racial discrimination. So what if a totally different human species was around? Would it have been subject to similar discrimination? Would champions of equal human rights have advocated for the rights of Neanderthals and Erectus too? We'll never know that. That's all for now. I'll be back with a new video very soon. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching.